Let's now go over the animation window. For this, I'm going to import a pre-made animation. This imported file may not look like much, but it's because we're currently on track 8. If I select the timeline, you'll notice there are many tracks in here. I'm going to go ahead and select the frog. Here you can see there are 4 frames that make up this animation. You'll notice that each one of these frames has its own set of 2 layers. You can also notice as I select the frames, the layer in the background is being changed. Sometimes it's helpful for us to preview the animation of the current track. For this, we can select the preview in the top right. Here we can preview the animation and set a frame rate for playback. You may notice that this animation is quite large. If I press the collapse button, we'll see what it looks like at actual size. But that makes it very tiny, which is hard to view, so we're going to go back to being the large scale. You can pause the animation and go back a frame or forward a frame to preview how it would look. Tapping anywhere outside of this window will close it. Let's imagine we wanted to use an ellipse to represent a bug. I'm going to select the first frame and draw an ellipse. Then I'll select the second frame, and you'll see a ghost of that ellipse. That allows me to draw over and over, knowing exactly where it was previously. Sometimes it's hard to tell what's going on when the image is ghosted. If we wanted to use colors instead for onion skinning, we can go into the settings and then check the box that says Use red/green for left/right. With that enabled, going back to the draw view, we can see red for the previous frame and green for the next frame. If you wish to preview more frames through onion skinning, you can set that in the settings. Here I've changed it to 2 previous frames and 2 next frames. You will also notice that the transparency increases the further that the onion skin is away from the current frame. This is now what our preview looks like. I know, not very exciting. On top of those animation features, you have options that you can perform on each one of the frames on this track. You can duplicate frames. You can also delete frames from here, which is the same action as the minus button on the right. Move frames left or right. You can flip frames horizontally. And you can flip frames vertically. The last option is for how long you wish to hold this frame. Some animators like to hold on 2s, so here you'll hold 2 frames. The number of frames that the frame will hold is shown next to the frame itself. If you are an animator who likes to animate on 2s, it may be annoying to go to every single frame and set the hold to 2. So for this, inside of the settings, you can change your default frame hold. All future frames will hold for this amount. You can see this when I add a frame. You may have also noticed that in the timeline we have lots of tracks containing animations. You can see their frames combined in the top preview image. It is useful to be able to preview all of the previous tracks that are behind the current track while drawing. In order to do this, you can select the settings icon and then turn on Draw with Timeline. Now all of the tracks that are behind the current track are visible while drawing. You will notice that it is only on the canvas that we see this. We don't see it in the layers, the animation window at the bottom, or in the preview in the top right. However, if we select on the preview in the top right, you'll be able to preview the animation drawn with timeline. This concludes our overview of the animation window.